everybody, today I am reviewing a couple of products. They are new to the Maybelline line. They are the Fit Me Matte and Poreless Foundation and Pressed Powder. Maybelline already has a Fit Me foundation and powder line out there, but here the special claim is the matte and poreless, and it does say on the products for normal to oily skin. And I wouldn't call myself oily right now. I am more toward normal. I always tend to be a little bit combination where the T-zone is concerned. That's where if I get oily, it'll usually be around my nose. The shades I have these in are nude beige here on the foundation and natural beige for the powder. As a whole, I feel like this gives me a more flawless complexion than the original Fit Me does. I still think dewy finishes can look beautiful and really make the skin look healthy and vibrant, but as far as just, you know, masking imperfections and really evening out the entire look of your skin, I think a matte finish lends itself more to that flawless look than a more luminous or dewy foundation might. So I do feel like this version looks better on my skin than the other, but it's still not totally full coverage. You know, you're still going to see freckles through this. You know, imperfections like blemishes, dark circles, I think are still going to show to an extent. While there are a lot of matte foundations on the market, I do think there's a place for a foundation like this because it's matte, but also more of a light to medium coverage. Because I think a lot of the other matte foundations, let's say CoverGirl's Stay Fabulous, the CoverGirl Ready Set Gorgeous, Revlon Color Stay, matte foundations like those tend to be more, I think, medium, closer to full coverage. So if you've got that oil control issue, but you don't want super thick coverage, maybe your skin's overall pretty even or doesn't have a lot of flaws, but it's more that skin type issue that you're dealing with specific to your skin, this might be a foundation that's more up your alley. I don't feel like my skin is anywhere near the height of its oiliness this time of year, but this did have really good staying power for me. But if you have areas of your skin that are dry, I think this exaggerates that. At the onset, this looks really nice on my skin. I think over, you know, my cheeks and stuff like that, staying power is good throughout the day. But when I look up around my eye area where I think I'm more dry, I feel like this foundation can tend to exaggerate wrinkles, fine lines, and stuff like that by day's end. It looks pretty fresh at the start, but later in the day is when I notice those issues. So this just really isn't a dry skin person's foundation, but maybe you are that kind of combo skin type where you'd really like this over certain parts of your face. I just think be careful around the eye area. Just to show the application, I mean, the packaging of this makes it a little bit of a pain. You know, it would be great if this had a pump or maybe a squeeze tube, but I patch it all over my face, and I chose to use my F80 today from Sigma to get that all blended out. It is easy to blend. It's pretty thin and lightweight, and it blends out pretty quickly, I think. Now the powder, this also specifies normal to oily skin. I really like this powder. I think it is on par with some of the drugstore powders that I tend to really like because it's got a texture that is not chalky and dry. I think this helps control the oil. I think this helps with the staying power throughout the day, but when you touch it, it's like, wow, that's kind of smooth, really almost has that creamy feel. Maybelline also makes a powder called Dream Wonder that I am a fan of, but I think this goes on a little bit more lightweight. You're less likely to get as much product caked on your face with this as you are with this. There is a sponge that comes with it. I don't prefer to use that. I mean, I think you could use it to touch up, but you got to be really careful because I think sponges and powders, they tend to pack on a little more product than you might want. But that is housed right down here underneath that mirror. But I chose to apply this with my e.l.f. complexion brush, just dusted it all over my skin, and between the powder and foundation steps, by the way, I did apply some concealer to my under eye area and around my nose. So this kind of went on and set everything, and the finished look, although I've gone on and contoured a little bit, applied some blush, a little bit of highlight, the overall look to my skin I do think is very evened out. I feel pretty good about it from the poreless perspective, but I think if you're more dry and you're trying to make this this work, you're going to see this foundation more on your skin. You know what I mean? If you're dry, I think you need something more moisturizing than this foundation. But if you're oily, I do think something like this would probably help balance you out pretty well. And I really do like the powder. I think I'm probably going to continue to get the most use out of this powder. I like the finish. It's very lightweight. It doesn't look cakey, but it does really mattify the skin. So that's my take on the Fit Me stuff from Maybelline. It's not really a matter of being a good or bad product. I do think these are good products, but you've really got to think about your own skin type and your own skin needs as far as who this is going to suit the best. So keep that in mind. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.